Wait. No way. No way. This can't be true. Why does Nicker's ground look like emus? There's no way. There's no way.
I don't know how to say this, but I'm just going to tell y'all. So let's theorize for a second. And if you haven't seen Chapter 1150 spoilers, you're going to want to get out of here, or like the leaks or anything like that. Just anything 1150, you're not going to watch this. Basically, the theory revolves around the fact that Emu tricked the entire world into making a contract. And that is a contract with the devil. And remember, a devil's weakness is salt. That's like a big thing. So devil fruits came into this world by humans making deals with devils. Like making contracts with devils. And then like as we see with Emu, if you make a contract with the devil, especially make one with her, it takes some of your lifespan out. So I believe these people, or the people of the ancient kingdom, were making contracts with devils. And this is how devil fruits were brought into this world. But it wasn't easy because like you had to die. So when you made the contract, you would die, right? As we learned in Skypiea, your soul would then go into the tree. And then how you see the bubbles coming out on top of Odie, that would be what would happen. The souls are being released as bubbles from the tree. And that's a real life belief that like that's what happens. Like souls are manifested or released as bubbles, and then like that popping into the air is like you releasing into the air. And it's also heightened during full moons. That's a big thing. But you just made a contract with the devil, right? This would allow the devil to take root within our world. So you die, your soul goes within the tree, and the devil's soul goes within the tree now too. It's like half and half a soul. So essentially half of your soul has gone to the underworld and half of your soul is in that tree. And half of the devil's soul is in the underworld and half of his soul is in that tree too. You guys are now basically sharing one soul bubble. And that's why they're called the D clan, because they're the descendants of the original 20 kings. They have half of a devil's soul and half of their own soul within their body. And that is their ancestors do. The original 20 kings, they had half of a devil's soul. And that's why they're the enemies of the gods. They're devils. So yeah, to sum that up for you, the descendants of the original 20 kingdoms that made deals with devils are the D clan. Now, this means something crazy. People can die, go down to hell, make a contract with the devil, and come back with the ancient energy source. If anyone in humanity was able to do this, Emu pulled the greatest scheme ever. If they tricked all the 20 kings to make a deal with them that took all of their lives and left Emu as the one ruler, and also made sure all their descendants stood under the same contract. So any descendants that died in the future from flooding or any of these methods of drowning or anything similar would literally just be another dead soul to use as a power that Emu could use to weave more demons and bring more demons into this world. Emu effectively tricked the world into the system that allows them to keep spawning demons into the world, bringing demons. Holy shit. And now I just realized something. And shout out to Atticus for this. There's the night parade of 100 demons. That is what Emu is trying to do. With all this death and destruction that Emu keeps constantly causing and keeping everybody stuck in, right? All that death means a bunch of dead souls, which means more yokai, more demons, more contracts that can be made, right? That means more demons and yokai brought into this world. That means more beings whose weakness is salt. So what's something that's needed to protect them when they go and raid all these other lands and places around the world? How about giant bridges so the demons don't fall in the salt water? So a lot of y'all ask, what is the purpose of creating the Tequila Wolf Bridge and all these other bridges they've been working on for years? Emu is setting up for the parade of 100 demons that they're going to use in the final war to defeat Joy Boy. Or at least try to. And one of their weaknesses will be salt. Salt will be very fucking important. Yeah. They might be after me. I gotta go. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. I'll see y'all in the next video.
The celestial dragons eat people, right? And I know what you're about to say. Oh my God, that's so crazy. Ew, how could you say that? But hear me out. Have you ever seen livestock in Marie-Joie? No, exactly. More than 1 million fishermen children come up missing per year. What do you think happens to these kids? And every time a fisherman comes up missing, they do a reverie. I'm noticing that. Why do you think they don't tell us anything that happened during the God Valley incident? What happened to some of the people at the God Valley incident? They were eaten. These people eat people and fishermen. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
One Piece isn't about pirates, it's about power. The overarching theme of One Piece literally mirrors the world that we live in. On the surface, it seems like just another goofy adventure, but underneath all that, it's really a story about who controls people and the world and how. The world government controls history, movement, and information. The pirates in this world aren't automatically evil, they just the ones who refuse to submit to this system. And the ones who are supposed to be the so-called lawful are the ones who commit the biggest crimes. Now tell me that doesn't sound familiar to you. See, but that's the point. One Piece separates order from justice, and understanding that those two ideas are not the same thing or interchangeable. A system can function perfectly and still be wrong, and wrong the people in which it's supposed to protect. But that's why this story feels so real to the common person. Stay tuned for part 2. I'm going to be talking about why the world government fears history.
Have you guys noticed when I started looking at the actual world map and beyond the 7 continents, beyond the ice wall, there's a series that I noticed has been doing a joke about this for a minute, and is actually one of the most popular anime series, One Piece. Have y'all noticed every island they're going through? You can almost pinpoint the world government was censoring everything. Isn't that what our government is currently doing in real life? They're disguising the events of what happened. They wiped out civilization, just like the world government in One Piece did. Did the United States government try to wipe out anything that relates to their crimes? I find it kind of weird. You know, there are people with abilities. The government tried to silence them. Anyone who speaks the truth about will get executed on the spot. Did y'all feel like the anime series One Piece has been trying to say something, and yet we're finding out about these world maps in real life? There are worlds beyond the ice wall, and I find it appealing. No one's talking about that, and that's kind of like how the world government is in One Piece. They wiped out islands, they wiped out civilizations, cultures, they wiped out species. Isn't that what the United States government does? Is that what the United Nations would be doing? Anyone that tries to go beyond the ice wall will be met with treason. And that's the same thing in the beginning of One Piece. Pirates who seek the truth, or who actually want to study the history. I don't know. The anime series is saying a whole lot. The more I kept looking into the series, I'm really fascinated with One Piece. I'm surprised. I wondered that Oda, the creator of the anime series, the manga series, I wondered does he know something that all of us don't know, and he's kind of telling the messages in his series. Because everything that we start learning about the Tartarians, there's a land called Asgard. There's an actual place called Asgard beyond the ice wall. The more I keep looking at One Piece, and the more I keep looking at the world map, it's almost like the ice wall was the Grand Line. Past it was the Grand Line. And then there's an outer ice wall that's showing beyond that. I feel like somebody's trying to tell us something. I don't know. What do you guys think? Because I feel like I may be overreaching. Please use this video to see if I'm crazy. Shoot. Am I speaking truth here?
Did Japanese pirates like One Piece actually exist? Yes, they were called the Woko, and they terrorized almost every country in East Asia for 400 years, even fighting the Spanish in the Philippines. But why? See, the story starts in the 1200s when the Mongolians tried to invade Japan twice, but failed. Although they technically won the war, Japan was broke because they were fighting a defensive war protecting their own land, and they ended up not having enough money to pay the samurai that fought the Mongolians, especially the people that lived on Tsushima Island, Goto, or Iki Islands, like right between Korea and Japan where the war was. These people were just gutted from war, and they were starving. So a lot of them just started raiding people. Actually, two phases. The first phase of the Woko pirate raids were alongside Korea as well as the islands around it and a part of Shantung. Korea and China called these people Woko, or Wa, which is the oldest way that Japan has ever been referred to by the Chinese or by any country. And this was basically a racial slur saying that they were dwarf bandits. And from their illustrations, they don't look too off from that description. So they were raiding, and the Ming Dynasty, which is China, decided to ban all private sea trade because of how dangerous it was encountering these pirates. This ended up destroying so many businesses that relied on foreign trade, like Chinese merchants. And guess what they did? They joined the Japanese pirates and became Woko. The Woko pirates grew significantly, recruiting people from Korea, China, and even Ryukyuans. And they ended up not being mostly Japanese, they were actually mostly Chinese. But the Chinese still blame Japan for the pirate raids. And the most powerful pirate of them all, or the Kaizokuo, was essentially Wang Ji. He was a salt merchant from China that, when his business got banned, he decided to join the pirates and became a pirate lord. If you watch my video about the Portuguese landing in Tanegashima in 1543, apparently there's a theory that these Portuguese guys that showed Japan guns for the first time were on Wang Ji's pirate ship. Crazy. Yeah, the Spanish battle story, they became so powerful that they started building bases in the Philippines. So the Spanish sent 40 soldiers against 600 pirates, and they basically won the war. The Spanish beat the Japanese pirates. This is probably the only recorded war of kind of samurai era Japanese people, or pirates, or Chinese people, or whatever. The ethnicity is shrouded in controversy nowadays, versus European powers, which is crazy.
In One Piece, the world government rose to power following the war between the Ancient Kingdom and the Alliance of the 20 Kings. They now uphold peace, defending against chaos and piracy. Okay, now hear me out. NATO was formed following World War II after the Allied forces defeated the Axis powers, an alliance between nations to ensure collective security and preserve world peace. Both the world government and NATO have no official leader, ensuring that every member nation has a voice, an empty throne to symbolize that no one rules the world. The One Piece is real. Follow Stretchy for more.
The One Piece is real. The One Piece is real. The One Piece isn't Israel. One Piece is a series that intends to reveal esoteric truths about our real world under the guise of telling a fictional story. However, those who are interested in this, here's how to sum it all up. One Piece is trying to tell you that our world is run by a tiny group of elite royal families who have all made a pact with the devil in order to place themselves on the top of a fictional and artificial throne, and that in exchange for their financial wealth and political prowess, they are giving the Antichrist a chance to unify all nations around the world for one final chance at a holy war against God. Before you claim I'm crazy, this kind of symbolism is literally riddled all over the entirety of the story of One Piece. And even now, I would say it's basically confirmed a especially after revealing that the final enemy of the entire series is Lucifer, or in this case, Emu. Despite us being lied to throughout the entire show's run and being told that every power that is being given to the main characters is devil fruit powers, we actually just learned that the original fruit Emu has is the devil's fruit itself, confirming that Luffy's goal throughout the entirety of this story has been to step into his role of being the second coming of Christ, embodying the salvation and liberation that is necessary and required for his people to remain free on this earth, and liberate the slaves from the oppressive hold that the serpent Satan has over all of humanity. All this is not just fiction, it is happening in real life, and Oda is a prophet that was sent by God in order to teach you in a way where you'll be willing to receive it and understand.
Wealth, fame, power. Donald J. Trump achieved this and everything else the world had to offer. And his dying words sent countless people out to the sea.
You want the files? You can have them. I left them all in one place. Now we just got them.
These words lured countless men out to the seas.
Do y'all watch One Piece? I feel like One Piece is really talking about our world. Man controls everything.
Oda is talking about a lot, and I love the little things, the connections that he makes to the real life world.
I really feel like most animes and most shows are really just trying to expose things in the real life, but like people don't want to see it. They just want to see it as a show.
And they have to put it like that to be able to do it, you know what I mean?
TikTok, all I'm gonna say is this: TikTok, my GOAT, Ichiro Oda, is the GOAT. Like, to be able to pull like many different ideas, inspirations, philosophies, religions, cultures, and to just put it in your one like creation, bro. One Piece is the greatest ever, bro. Like, that's the point of this video. That's it. I'm cutting it right here.
The Democrats say, please don't call them animals. They're humans. I said, no, they're not humans. They're not humans. They're animals.
Those government bastards may tell you that your existence is a crime, but no matter how dangerous you may be, just being alive, just being who you are, is never wrong.
Pirates are evil. The Navy is just. But that's only true because history tells us so. Children who've never known peace have different values than children who've never known war. The one who wins will rewrite the definition of right and wrong. They'll decide the future and how the past is written. Will justice prevail? Why, there's no other way!
You can never break me, will me, thrill me. You can never kill me, chew me, sue me. Everybody do me, kick me, kite me, jump up like a bite me. All I wanna say is that thing I really got.
So as we all know, One Piece likes to reference like modern day problems, issues that the world still faces that should not be a thing. Did Oda know about Epstein Island? I'm just saying, guys, from the moment I saw this post, the similarity started rushing through my brain. Okay, both abducted children and did obscene things to them. Both had their own private island where they were just free to do whatever the they wanted. Both also catered to the high elite and like top 1% of the world. Both of them look like freaking weirdos. The moment I find out they were doing some kind of scientific experiments on there to sell to on the black market, I'm gonna without a doubt know One Piece was referencing the island. So what do you guys think? Did Oda know about the Epstein Island and like low-key try to tell us about it? Or is Oda just such a good writer he can write something that's factually gonna happen in our world? Damn you, Oda.
I believe the One Piece is real, and this is going to get a little controversial and a little nuanced, so stick with me. They're currently in the land of giants, Elbaf, and it's said that 100 years ago in-universe, the scariest thing in the ocean were the giant pirates. I believe these giant pirates represent European colonization. Might makes right, and these Europeans were mightier than any other nation on Earth. Using advanced technology and a superiority complex, they were able to dominate the entire global south. Colonizing spirit is represented through King Harold, who was humbled by a fellow giant who said, hey, might does not make right, you dickhead. Everybody is equally valid. It's not their fault they're born weaker than you. Harold then goes on a noble crusade to completely change the culture of Elbaf, liberalizes his nation, demilitarizes it, instead prioritizes diplomacy and education, same way Europe has over the last 80 years. Harold's greatest desire is to join the world government. This world government only exists because of financial abuse. Centralized currency and a centralized banking system has enslaved the entire world. And the highest echelon of this world government are essentially God's chosen people. But they call themselves, they are gods. They are descended from the 20 founding families, too different from our real world 13 families that secretly govern the world. And this world government's ultimate goal is to take over the land of giants, as the giants are the last unconquered people on the planet. They want all of these white giants to form an army and take over the entire world. And with the rise of white nationalism happening right now in our world, it's hard to not see the parallels. Author Oda has said multiple times that the warrior spirit of Elbaf is not the problem. The problem is usury and dehumanization, which is the bread and butter of this financial system that the world government has set up. The real enemy is the international financiers and all of their political and military power. This world government government can only operate in the shadows. As people are made aware of just how evil this financial system is, they rightfully rebel against it. So my hope for the real world is all of us have our eyes on the prize. See who the true enemies are, which are the international financiers. People who hollow out good nations and make them debt slaves to a world system. There are not good nations and bad nations, there are good systems and bad systems. This international system of usury is at the heart of every single one of our problems in this world, and it needs to be torn down yesterday.
I think I figured out what the One Piece is. Let me explain. When Roger reached Laugh Tale and seen the One Piece, he laughed so hard he could cry. He called Joy Boy's story a funny story. Odin stated that we will learn the meaning of D, the Void Century, and the treasure all at the same time. Roger's log post upon reaching Lodestar went all crazy. This would be because it was reacting to an even crazier frequency than what's on Lodestar. That would be the One Piece itself. Oda even created a treasure chest with the One Piece written inside it and sunk it into the ocean floor. This would be where Laugh Tale is, inside the Earth. Oda in the SBS stated that the sun and the moon and the Earth's rotation all move on spiral energy, the same thing you see on Sanji's eyebrows, which flip the spiral when he's conflicted on something. Even devil fruits have this similar pattern. The whole One Piece world runs off this energy, which is what Vegapunk tried to recreate with the Mother Flame, which would be limited energy, while the ancient energy source would revolve around the spirals of the Earth being unlimited energy that mankind has been digging up and fighting for since the first world. I think that energy source is at Laugh Tale, which is what messed up Roger's frequency with his log post. The spiral of life, the raw energy source that created devil fruits, which is why they get sick while reaching Laugh Tale. An energy that grants a user any desire that they want. That could be very dangerous in the wrong hands. I believe there's a ritual needed to awaken this energy source that requires song and dance. We see this in early Hindu Vedic cultures with fire rituals, as well as in Skypiea with everyone dancing around the flame with instruments. When Rayleigh spoke about Roger's death, he says that Roger took his fading flame of life and spread it throughout the world, and that he never laughed or cried more on that day. Those words are an exact parallel on what happened on Laugh Tale, where they all laughed so hard that tears came from their eyes. I think the One Piece is a tambourine, which is not just a random instrument I picked out. A tambourine in Egyptian mythology is used during sun rituals, and tambourine-like instruments are used during Vedic fire rituals as well as song and dance. Queen Lily is from the Nefertari clan, which is connected to ancient Egypt. She would have gifted Joy Boy the tambourine. A tambourine is the only instrument that has 8 dots surrounded by one big one in the middle. This looks very similar to the sun symbol and Dharma wheel we keep seeing everywhere in One Piece. Luffy's main drawback with Gear 5 is his stamina. He always needs to eat to regain his power. That problem would be solved if he eats the ancient energy source, as he has unlimited energy to be able to use the power of imagination endlessly.
Oda revealed the cause of the flood from the beginning. Listen up. In an early SBS, when asked about Sanji's swirling eyebrows, Oda gives an unexpectedly deep and revealing answer. He says, all life relies on circling. The moon orbits the earth that orbits the sun, and if that circling were to ever stop, the world would be plunged into cataclysmic flooding and chaos. Vegapunk already revealed that it is Imu's plan to flood the world, and I think I figured out exactly how that's going to happen. Recently, it's been looking more and more likely that the Hellfire Serpent of the ancient world at some point became the red line, circling the entire world. If this is true, then Oda is clearly drawing from Norse mythology, specifically Jormungandr the World Serpent. In Norse myth, after growing large enough to encircle the planet, Jormungandr goes dormant, but is awakened by a specific event called Fimbulwinter. The sun and moon are consumed, and the world is plunged into an eternal dark winter. The chaos that ensues awakens the serpent and floods the world. Imu, despite their immense power and eternal life, seems entirely confined to Pangaea Castle, unable to experience the world they rule over. Many theorists have proposed that Imu is unable to walk in the sunlight, whether it's because they are a shadow being or have a condition like sapphire scales. They seem to fear the sun above all else. Rox came face to face with Imu. He leaves behind his sword named Eclipse in the flower room. I think this may be some clever wordplay by Oda, as the eclipse is exactly what Imu needs to leave the flower room. With the wolf bridges nearing completion, the time draws near. I've already made several theories explaining why I believe Imu is the Earth God, and when the planet, moon, and sun align, creating a total solar eclipse, Imu will use the power of the Earth God to stop the orbits of the planet and moon, symbolically taking the sun as seen in the Harley, creating the eternal dark winter that awakens the serpent and brings about the Great Flood. In Norse myth, Jormungandr's flood marks the start of Ragnarok, the end of the world, but in One Piece, Imu is called the world, so in enacting their grand plan that allows them to finally walk the planet they've controlled for centuries, they've unknowingly signed their own death warrant, making 2 grave miscalculations. Blackbeard will pull a Bane. You think the darkness is your ally? I was born in the darkness, molded by it. And Luffy, embodying the sun god, will represent the world's last light. Blackbeard's darkness and Luffy's light will come together yin-yang style to defeat Imu and return balance to the world, the exact principle the yin-yang represents. Also, I have a full theory on how Loki will kill the serpent, so hit me with a comment if you want to be tagged in that, and follow Stretchy for more.